Are you trying to lose body fat? Well, this video can be quite interesting for you because I'm not going to tell you everything you want to hear. YouTube is already full of creators just creating content telling people what they want to hear, well knowing that that's going to get them views and likes. So in this video, I'm going to give you some fat loss advice that people don't want to hear, okay? It's going to be some of that like no filter advice. And when I start coaching clients in my own coaching business, this is the type of advice I'm giving them. Of course, not set as direct as I'm going to in this video, but I'm just going to tell you exactly what you need to hear if you want to start a fat loss, or you're already on a fat loss and you find it very hard and you can't find your way forward, or you're stuck. Well, the answer will most likely be in these next 10 hard-hitting truths about fat loss. Let's get on with it. Now, the first tip or the first advice, the first fact is going to be, if you're not losing any weight right now in your fat loss, you're not in a deficit. Right, you've heard this a million times before, I know it. But fat loss is not necessarily as simple as people make it, calories in versus calories out. Of course, it's the science behind it, thermodynamics, I get it. But there's so many other things that goes into that equation. Chronically elevated levels of cortisol might be one, insulin resistance, and so on, so on. But you will always lose weight if you're in a negative calorie balance. But your calorie balance, the amount of calories that you burn or the amount of calories that you should eat compared to how much you burn, you might not be able just to use a standard calculator online. You're gonna have to test your way through this and figure out what works. But I'll say 9 out of 10 situations for you guys out there, you are eating more calories than you think. So just to add one point to that is that when people come to me saying this and they say that they can't lose weight and they are in a deficit, and they might come up with a million excuses why they're not losing weight. Every time I do a diet deep dive, every time I look really closely on what they're eating, not just on a daily basis, but also on a weekly basis, the total calories that they eat in a week is not going to be under the total calories they expend through their metabolism and their NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, so just the TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, and not in a deficit. So before I just move on to the next point here, just do yourself this favor. If you are not losing weight, accept the fact that you are not in a deficit. You either have to increase your calorie expenditure or take a deep dive in what you're eating, especially over the weekend when you're not thinking about it. The sooner you come to this realization and you just accept it and keep going, trying to find those hidden calories, the sooner you're gonna progress. Okay, tip number 2, or fitness fat loss advice number 2 that nobody wants to hear is training less is better. Okay, I know this video is about fat loss, but if you want to do a fat loss in the right way, you're gonna have to do strength training to minimize the amount of muscle mass that you are losing in your calorie deficit throughout your entire journey, or best case scenario, maintaining as much as possible throughout the journey. Unless you're an absolute beginner, of course you cannot build muscle mass if there's not a calorie surplus. There's no energy available to create muscle, so the goal is to maintain. Anyways, training less is better. I can give you this advice because the amount of times I've taken on new clients, specifically guys coming on to drop 10 kilos of body fat, build big arms, big chest, wide back, you know how it goes. Wanting to train 6-7 days every single week. You know, they have this like all-in mindset, let's fucking go. But in reality, what you need to accept is that you, my friend, women as well, you are in a calorie deficit. You're in a negative calorie balance. It means that your body is under stress from not having enough ingoing calories to support the outgoing activity that you're having. So your body is forced to dig into its stored energy stores, which is body fat. Hopefully that's where it's gonna take it, not muscle mass. And utilize that as energy. And that's where the fat loss happens. But if you're in a calorie deficit and you're following a normal calorie calculator, you're not going to take into account that you're training 6 to 7 times every single week, and you are for sure not going to be able to recover from that much training. It means that you're going to get injured at one stage. You're not going to have the energy to do any training that makes any sense at all, and you cannot recover, so you're not going to get any results from the training. You're adding exercise, which is a stressor, on top of a deficit, which is a stressor. The exercise you're adding on top is completely drowning your deficit, and everything just goes to, I'm gonna try not to swear too much in this video, everything is just not gonna work out, yeah? Let's put it that way. So you have to understand, training less is better than training more. 2 to 3 strength sessions every single week, that is the sweet spot. You can ramp it up later when you come out of your deficit. Training more doesn't make you cool. It's not something to show off. But if you train smart, you'll get the results you want. Okay, next one. You have a weekend problem, or at least the majority of people out there does. What that means is that you're in a fat loss, you do everything you can to lose body fat, and when the weekend comes around, you ruin it all. 2 bad days over the weekend can easily ruin 5 good days in the weekdays. That is a fact. If you're getting drunk every single weekend and eating out every single weekend, chances are you are not going to be losing any muscle fat. You're not going to be losing any body fat long term, because it's just so damn hard in a fat loss to ingest alcohol or drink a lot of alcohol and then mix it with high calorie foods. If you're counting calories, easy fix to this, start your calorie counting week on a Friday. So if you absolutely blow it over the weekend, when Monday comes around, you're just gonna have to divide the remaining calories you have on the next 5 days and suffer it out. Okay, next one. If I look a little bit funny in my face, it's because I'm doing a set between each of these tips, so yeah, that's why. Anyways, cardio is most likely your enemy. And I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous if you're in a fat loss, because you're thinking cardio burns calories. Well, I'm gonna tell you something right now. Fat loss is about being in a calorie deficit with the least stress being exposed to your body. Every time you do a lot of cardio, it's a massive stressor for the body, and it spikes your hunger like crazy. So if you want to stay in a deficit and feel good and not be hungry all the time, you gotta really be careful with all the cardio that you're doing. I know from working with clients for the last 10 years in this, the only thing I've done for 10 years is to have a client do more low intensity cardio like steps or zone 2 cardio. Is going to be much better than any sort of like high intensity, sprints and fast running or any type of cardio. Remember what I said, a calorie deficit is already a stressor for your body, so don't make it worse than it has to be. Just bump your steps up. All right, next tip is going to be a little bit of a mindset shift around protein. And this one goes out specifically, or not specifically for everyone, but all my women watching this in a fat loss, pay attention. Protein is not like a bodybuilder thing, because that's what most women think. So, eat a lot of protein and bodybuilder, you can get big and bulky. Nah. Protein is a hunger thing. When you eat more protein, you feel satiated faster when you eat, but it also slows down your digestion, neutralizes your blood sugar, controls your hunger. So we want to eat a lot of protein, not just to, give our muscles what they need to actually rebuild and recover, but you also want to eat a lot of protein because it's the most satiating macronutrient. And here's a hidden fact. Protein burns 2 to 3 times as many calories being digested than fat or carbohydrate. The thermic effect of protein is way higher than fats and carbs. So you could eat more protein and burn more calories and you don't even have to move. That's just your digestion. Next point, advice, hard-hitting truth. Sleep is the reason why you are a victim. And the reason why I frame it like that is that the people who struggle with sleep deprivation for various reasons, they are gonna find everything in life hard, not just fat loss. But specifically to fat loss, it's going to be almost impossible. First and foremost, your body is gonna be in a continued, chronically elevated level of stress, right? You're gonna be hungry all the time. Your leptin and ghrelin is all over the place. When you eat, you're gonna feel full later than you should. You're gonna be drawn to highly palatable foods, snacks, chips, ice cream, burgers, pizzas. Your prefrontal cortex is impaired because your brain is getting 30% less glucose, its main fuel source. So it will be, your decision making will literally be impaired. That's why when you're hungover on the couch, you basically just want to eat crap all day because you don't have it in you to make good decisions. Your hormone production will be lower. Everything will be affected negatively in your body if you're not getting the sleep that you need, no matter what the reason for that is. It means that if you really want to have an effective fat loss or any physical change in your body and health, Sleep is the first thing we fix. We build everything from sleep. 7 hours as the minimum, and a lot of new research is coming out showing that consistency in bed and waking times is important. You need to go to bed and wake up within a 90-minute window consistently every single week, right? It doesn't matter if you go out on the weekends, you gotta sleep at the same time as the weekdays and wake up at the same time as you do in the weekdays. I don't make these rules, it's just biology. One thing I do know is once you get your shit together and you actually work on your sleep, you don't go back to how you lived before. Once you get a taste of that good stuff, which is sky high HRV, feeling fully recovered, you're not gonna go back to being sleep deprived and living like a zombie all day, that's for sure. You just feel too damn good. Next one, if you are on a diet and you call it a diet, you lost the game already. It's not that there's anything wrong with your efforts. It's just your mindset is that you're on a diet, which means the diet's gonna end at one point. And when that diet ends, you're gonna go back to how you ate before. Don't call it a diet. Just call it a lifestyle change, even though it's a nutritional change. Because you wanna prove to yourself and tell yourself subconsciously that the change you're making is one that is here to stay. You wanna eat a healthier diet to lose fat, right? But what if you say, hey, I'm just gonna change the way I live. Sleep, hydration, stress management, training, diet, all of it, nutrition. And then when the fat loss ends, you're just gonna increase the amount of foods that you're eating. You're not gonna quit the diet. You're just gonna eat more and then go to maintenance. Facts. Okay, here we go, next one. This one, don't underestimate this one. You don't have a motivational problem. You don't have a discipline problem. I know all these YouTube videos and Instagram reels, TikTok videos saying motivation, and you're watching some whatever actor say some sort of speech and like blah, blah, blah. Cue the dramatic music, right? Yeah, you wanna go for that run now. No, you have a system problem or a structure problem, right? Listen to this. You wanna create a life for yourself where making the easy decision is the Let me say that again. You want to create a life for yourself where making the right decision is the easy decision, or making the hard or the wrong choice is the hard decision. It's a little bit like we say we need to empty all the foods at our home that doesn't support how we want to look and feel. We want to remove that so we don't have those daily temptations all the time, because we're going to break sooner or later. And we want to have our kitchen, our house full of all the foods that does support how we want to look and feel. If we do that, then the right decision is the easy one at home. And if you want to have something that doesn't support how you look and feel, some unhealthy food or some cheat meal, whatever you call it, you have to go and get it. That's the hard decision. So the same thing in your life, create structure that breeds success. Don't go to a party full of your friends drinking alcohol if you're trying not to drink and waste a ton of calories, that you're setting yourself up for success. Make changes in your everyday life so you living the way in a way that will support how you want to look and feel is the easy way. This is so powerful. Of course, then you can, if you have a bunch of friends that are living super unhealthy and they don't take care of themselves, you got to ask yourself some tough questions if you don't resonate with how they live anymore. And we have the last one. And the last one is one of the more hard, the stinging ones. It's one of those where you really have to look yourself in the mirror and be honest. But I'm gonna use common sense now. Let me just adjust this. Right, so if you know, and you will if you reflect, if you know that you have gained 20 kilos, 10 kilos, 5 kilos, 30 kilos, whatever it is, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 100 pounds of body fat, because you go out every single weekend and get flat out drunk, then you will also have to know that in order for you to not keep gaining weight, or in order for you to lose some of that weight you gain, you're gonna have to do less of the one thing that made you gain weight in the first place. I know that sounds so incredibly obvious, but guys, I see this when people come to me for help, but like people don't resonate with this. It doesn't make any sense for people. If you are a person who's gained 50 kilos of body fat because you go by the bakery on the way home from work and you eat 1,000 calories every day through baked goods, I don't care how much you love that. You've built the need for that. You've built the love for that yourself doing it. You will have to get rid of that one thing that caused you to gain so much weight in the first place, or at least cut it down. I have a saying in my coaching called trigger foods. If there are certain foods that you're eating that causes you to go spin out of control and completely lose control of how much you're eating, we all have them, for me it's bread, you're gonna have to be willing to cut down on this food that's causing you so much damage in the first place. I mean, it takes maturity to recognize what it is and then cutting down on it. And people who stuck in denial, they will be stuck and continue to be stuck in finding fat loss incredibly hard and potentially even impossible, because they are not willing to face the one thing that caused them to gain weight in the first place. Obvious, right? Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this style of content, give the video a like, drop a comment, anything basically. Even the fact that you're just watching this right now is enough for me. So I want to thank you for being here. If you have any other interesting topics you want me to cover, you can drop a comment below or send me an Instagram DM on Christian K Fitness on Instagram. And yeah, I'll get right to it. Thanks for being here. See you in the next one. Peace.